if we have a problem of compression and you move everybody at the same rate, you're not changing the compression, you're giving everybody a higher pay. Jim said that if we use this particular model, he said that in 2022, Mr. Green, I apologize, said that in 2022 we can start the COLA if we're willing to bite the bullet on this particular budget. And he sits there. I was at the mercy of him to help us understand what we needed to do.
Now,
Yes, sir. Hold on, let me catch you. I'll come right to you. Yes, sir.
My problem with this is you're already making as much as all the mayors of cities of about 10,000 people. You're asking for the kind of money that mayor of Hot Springs and Benton make. We are not Hot Springs and we're not Benton. We can't afford to pay you $80,000 a year. That's unrealistic.
Yes,
You
sir.
already make more than the mayor of El Dorado. We're not El Dorado. We don't have a Fortune 500 company. And I know you like to trash on OPED, but if it wasn't for OPED setting up Aerojet, renting a building from the airport, we'd still be in major decline.
If
with
you don't
nothing
mind,
new.
sir, please, let's stick with this. I don't think it's fair to say I trash on somebody. Let's do the budget. I really would appreciate sticking with this.
I am sticking with this. I think your request for an $8,000 pay raise is unrealistic.
Okay, that's a fair statement.
That's what I led with.
Yes, sir. Let's stop with that one. All right, what else? Is there something about the budget?
so my thought is for fire and police, yes, I believe there was a serious problem with compression. And I feel that currently what we have in the budget kind of fixes that. So that we can just kind of move forward next year with COLA increases and that. I don't really feel that public admin really suffered from that compression like some of the other departments. So that's kind of my issue with the size of the raise. Personally, I feel that like for instance last year, the mayor made a little over 70, and the assistant mayor made a little over 60. If you give everyone a 2% raise, you're still at about that same level, and I don't feel that public admin as a department was necessarily compressed. So that's the issue I personally have with it.
Yes, sir.
I say this, well, James, I hear you on that, and I think the compression for the admin would come from, let me word this right. I think it would come from like the fire chief and the police chief.
But that's not public admin.
It's not public admin, but I mean, your compression would be up on the map. They would be right there almost on an even scale. Now, the 13%, that's the reason I said, now, I agree, we're looking at almost $9,000 raise. Man, that's steep. But, and so with that 13%, and that's why I say, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I suggest that we cut it in half. I don't know, 5, 6, the two that LE got calculated, I know, it looks good, everything, and it comes down to the vote, but, Mr. Green, had 13% in there, and we don't agree with that, and I was just trying to meet halfway. I don't know what y'all think about it, just something to chew on.
If someone would make a suggestion on a percentage or a number, it would help us to move to another item. I think I've gotten a lot of attention tonight.
Right, let me get Terry.
I understand what you're saying, and I understand what Mr. Argid said on the thing he sent out from us from all the other towns. We're way above in a bunch of salaries than other towns, but I see what you're saying too. 5%, cut it in half or a little less or whatever.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to put a motion on the floor.
I was about to put a motion on.
I was just going to say that was one of the things I looked at. Plus, I also, I represent about 2,000 people, and my phone been ringing off the wall because, you know, this budget gets out pretty quick to the public. And, I was looking at something about doing 50%, but I constantly listen to Mr. Green about we just kicking this can down the road. But I just feel like we need to do something right now that's a little less than what's proposed here, because it's some hurting people out there and some angry people out there. And when they say they send me up here to represent them, and I'm voting the top of the heads up here, 13 and 15% raises, it don't sit well. Because even though I'm here to interpret for them and digest this information, I still represent them. And that's what I'm hearing.
You
But
make a recommendation on a number that you can live with, and let's see what, if we can we just kick it a little further and get, just, if somebody mentions a number, then we have a real discussion. Right now, saying it's too high is not really a discussion.
I understand, but I said that I'm in agreement with what I'm hearing here. Not at 2%, but let's meet and make a decision
Thank
here.
James for making.
Okay, just so we can kind of move this forward a little bit, I make a motion to amend the mayor's salary to $74,500 for the year.
That is no real motion on the
We're still
table.
around 50%.
What percentage is that, or where you?
Somewhere in that 5-6% raise there. He's in the same range still with Joe there. It's cutting it to 6%. That's about half of the percentage rate he asked for.
About 5%.
5.5, 6%.
6%, 6.5%.
That's 6.5? 6%. That's a good number. That's a good percentage.
I'm willing to work with you.
That's meeting in the middle right there.
All right. All right.
Are we in agreement?
So that's 6% you say, Ali?
6.5, 6.45 or something like that.
Did you base that on 70,000 last year? Because it's actually 70,700
That
and...
754 is car allowance, I think, am I right, Jim?
Okay,
Well, he just grabbed the dollars and everything. I'm in agreement.
So you put that motion on the floor?
I'll put it on the floor.
I second.
Move second. Ready for discussion? Those in favor, is voting sign of aye. Opposed, is voting sign of nay.
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 Oh, what was the number?
74.5.
Do I do 6.5%? Do I do more?
74.5.
We ain't doing it.
Good job, Bill.
74.5 plus vehicle allowance?
I was gonna have that for everything,
Inclusive.
inclusive, total,
It includes vehicle allowance?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
So the next item on my worksheet.
Oh, did that pass or what
Yeah.
did it do?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
The next item on mine was to reduce the alderman's pay to $100 a month, and that would save about $14,000 to the general fund.
I don't know if I entirely agree with that, but I definitely feel that we should keep it the same as last year. I don't feel like we need a raise.
Chris
Keeping it just at, the same as last year.
Chris made a statement last meeting, and I agree with it. I won't take a raise, but we need to leave this alone. Yeah. No, we're cutting it.
I'm with the consensus of the board.
So I make a motion to amend the alderman's salary to a 0% change from 2020.
Second.
That'll make it 23,793.
It's already a change.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it was.
All right, ready for, we had a motion and second. All right, ready for discussion? Those in favor, you vote sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, you vote sign of nay.
Nay.
Ayes have it. That's fair? Okay. Yes, sir. Go to page 20.
Yes. Apparently, we're gonna get a new treasurer next year. Unless we can lock Jim up in the cell back there. So we got to set the pay for that spot.
What do you recommend, sir?
May I ask
Is
a
that
question?
recommendation?
Well, I noticed I'm looking at two different scales here and everything, and based on one, it's back to 2%, and the other one, you say you are in negotiations. Are you?
I haven't talked about treasure, I'm talking about code enforcement. We don't pay.
No,
Which one?
we're on page 20.
Yeah, that's
Treasurer.
That's treasure.
He's not in negotiation with a treasurer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I-
Just code enforcement.
Yes, sir.
The assistant
There
treasurer
we go.
has, we have a policy in the city that you're working out your normal job, because I'm putting more and more responsibilities on her, preparing her for when I leave, because who knows what's gonna happen. I'll still be here transitioning, but I still have to put the workload on somebody additional so they know what's going on. She gets a 4% until that time happens. So she gets a 2% based upon everybody else, and she gets a 4% based upon working out of
The transition.
The same things occurring in code enforcement at this time. And then Ellie discussed the salary level. I think probably budget-wise, the 60,000 is probably what you ought to put in the budget, and then you can hire up to 60. But that's y'all's call.
So with that said, Mr. Jim, and to the board, I'd like to make a suggestion that what you had at first, the 52,183,
I thought that was good.
that we stay right there.
If you keep the salary the same at 52,
Yes, sir.
that's y'all's call, but I don't know particularly what candidates you'll be able to draw at that particular level. You might or might not be able to.
Okay.
And your recommendation was how much?
But-
60,000.
Well, that's y'all's decision, but it seems to me that it ought to be around the 60 level, that the treasurer ought to be on par
Yeah.
with your assistants, the
Code
mayor, and those
enforcement.
types of things. There's no reason your treasurer should be paid less.
Right.
Now, should you bring someone in at 60? I don't know.
Yeah.
If they have a qualification. I have a very good candidate sitting in my office, whether she really wants to do it or not, that I've been training for 2.5 years. So you wouldn't bring that person in at 60, but you would progress them up as they took on more responsibility, you got more confidence. So it just gives you flexibility. Not saying you're gonna spend it,
Yeah.
but it gives you some flexibility.
So this 55 to 60 that's suggested on here, that a good number?
We recommended 60,
Yeah.
but you don't have to start.
You don't have to
person
start
at
at
60.
I understand, I'm just looking at the 55.
Well, the 60
To
is
60, 60 is top out. Yeah. And
I
so-
suggest I make a motion to use the 60 figure.
I'll second.
Has been moved and second. Do we have any more discussion? Those in favor, use voting side of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, use voting side of nay. Ayes have it on that one unanimously. And the parenthetic 7,000, is that on the same page or another page?
That was, if you went to the 60,000, that would be an additional expense of $7,000.
All right.
That's what that was,
Yes, sir. All right. So now we go to page 29, am I correct?
Code enforcement, same issue. I'm gonna suggest we go and go ahead and use the 60,000, I guess, unless somebody knows.
Which we currently have the top level at 60,000.
Yeah.
And then the compliance officer at 40, and I'm good with that personally.
So there's no need for an adjustment here?
Not unless we wanted to say, start them at 55 to see how they work out.
But they don't have to, I mean, based on their qualifications, we don't have to pay them that much.
Most jobs you're gonna ramp up, I don't know in the city
Training
business.
wage or.
Yeah, you ramp them up after 6 months, maybe a year, if everything's in compliance.
Right.
Now, we also agreed on the administrative assistant, so we're gonna have 2 in the field and 1 in office. You agree with that?
Now, I'm looking at, there was no increase, so we're gonna have 3 people now in code enforcement?
Correct.
Okay.
Two in the field.
Which, one of those is not an increase, because it's a kind of new positions,
Oh, okay.
or shuffled positions.
If there are no more adjustments, now, are we ready for page, are we finished with the discussion now? There's no adjustment? Are we ready for page 34?
There again, my suggestion was for the reduced raise for the police chief, same thing on the next one for the fire chief, but they're gonna take and reduce or spread that, they're gonna keep the expense item the same, they're just gonna take the $4,000 we're cutting off of theirs and spread it out to some of the other officers in there, but they're gonna use their own discretion on that, whether it's gonna work. So our total expense was gonna stay the same on those. Just we'll change their rate of pay, and some of these other officers are gonna go up a little bit.
So we're gonna go from 9 to like 6.5 again, or?
It's 68.
It's 68,
Uh,
65,
Okay.
the chief.
I noticed that some of these compared to my last budget, and I'd have to pull it up, have actual percentage raises that they didn't have in last time, and I'm trying to.
That's really a 3% raise to the 68.
68?
3%.
Yeah, according to this budget, everyone's getting a raise,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
which I'm good with.
Give us something.
We're gonna allow them to have the car expense and all that, right?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're taking mine out of the 74.5 now.
Well, I was under the impression that
We're
the,
taking mine out of mine, and I was just wondering how we were gonna do everybody else. I was waiting to see.
well, I was under the impression that everything was increasing.
Does the fire chief and police chief get a car, the car expense?
I thought I did too, but
No,
I don't know
I
mine.
didn't know they did that,
In the,
because the gas is paid for by the city.
The city attorney. Is that an
I
increasing salary?
paid to drive.
Is that an increasing salary, or is that?
Every pay period, I paid, some money taken out of mine to
Well, I
drive.
think you need, Jim can give you the payroll details of the way you have to include that. Some of that has to do with luxury vehicles. I think.
Right, no, it's the IRS regulations are, if you're driving, if you're a non-uniform, unmarked vehicle, and you're, even though the mayor is the head of the police department, the chief officer, he does not qualify to have a vehicle other than that's provided by the city, and that has to have the vehicle allowance. So that's what the IRS requires. When you drive a marked vehicle or you drive an undercover agent's car, and you are a licensed law enforcement agency, it does not count because they know you're on call 24/7. The mayor's on call 24/7, so he qualifies with all of the rules of the IRS, except he's not a uniformed police officer. That's the only difference.
So like the county judges.
It would apply to
Yeah.
any judge office.
so Jim, I can't find the actual budget, but I have it marked here. Last year, the mayor, budgeted in the 2020 budget for the mayor was $70,754.
The 754 is his vehicle allowance.
Okay, so yeah, when I said the,
74.5.
thank you. When I said that, I was assuming that was counted in because because it was counted in the full budget from last year.
No, you're basically taking 700, you're taking the vehicle allowance away from you,
Okay.
in theory, is what you're doing. You're still
Okay.
getting a raise, but,
Because
right.
Because I saw that number in there, so I assumed that, because it was the
And it has to be in there because it is taxable wages, and it
Right.
is his salary.
It cuts it down to a 6% instead of a 6.5.
Right.
So, yeah, I was, because it was included in the budget number, that's where I was going with the 74.5 for it. So,
So I thought you asked him, and he said that no, it didn't include it, but do we need to go back and then include it into the mayor's salary, or?
He's telling us that it needs to be.
Yeah. Well, I think it's held is the 74.5 includes the extra 54.
Yeah, that's what we voted on.
Oh, you voted to include it.
right,
Certainly change.
it was
So I
as the final number for
will have
everything.
to back it in and do some calculations for it to come out exactly 74.5.
Okay,
Yeah.
Rates may be different for 2021. Oh, hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so I make a motion that for the police and the fire, we knock that top bracket down to the 68 instead of the 72.
Good. Good.
I'm sorry, what page is that on?
It's 34 and 39. Fire and police.
Second.
What about, you still got a bunch of 16 and 15% that's gonna,
Well,
think you need to drop them a little bit? Or you gonna be,
I'm thinking that's
until we can go
what,
line by line by line and figure out, you're gonna be, might bunch up
It's
again.
gonna be crammed again.
Well, let me ask you this, I thought, after once we done this, then we was gonna come back through the year and come up with a hard number salary, and vote and say, hey, this is what we're gonna pay this position from this to that, we're gonna do that through the year.
Okay.
But, yeah, am I right, Chris?
Yes, sir, but keep in mind, we heard the same song and dance last year. You know,
We're
things
gonna
like COVID are out of our control.
We're gonna stay on top of it, me and you, all right? We ain't gonna sleep on it.
but doing the comparison, I'm gonna say between the other cities of our size, that these are not out of line, I don't think, for the fire and police.
Quick question while we in this area here now. Are we gonna address anything about fully staffing?
About what?
Because staffing, fully staffed.
I mean, I don't think they're trying not to be fully staffed.
So I have okayed another test this year.
Okay.
And we have been, every test costs, and we've been taking those tests. We need some very viable candidates and some people who are willing to live up to the standards of our police and fire department.
Police and fire.
Yes, sir. All right? So we've been offering the test, and we had, early this year was pretty, the results were looking real bleak and grim. They got better toward the end. We have one more test scheduled, and we want you to send your best candidates out. All right, is there a suggestion at all?
I made a motion.
I second it.
This motion is second. Is there any discussion?
I'm sorry, Ellie, what was that number you suggested?
68,000.
For the chiefs?
Yes.
All right, any more discussion? Those in favor, use vote sign aye. Aye. Those opposed, you vote sign nay.
Nay.
Thank you. All right, so now we get to go to page 53, sir?
43. Well, Public Works, there's no change, nothing, I was fine with that one.
So, I'm sorry, because we discussed the full repair for a second, but I'm not sure, were we going to try to plug some number in there, or just kind of wait for Kevin to come to us, or?
Well,
I wanted some discussion on that, and when we go to public work, I wanted some discussion on that. I'm all about, let's go back and look at,
We're on page 43, right?
43 or 53?
40%, director.
43 is public works salaries.
Right, but he jumped over it, and I'm just,
Well, we have 43 though, right?
Okay.
We
should be.
gotta get past 43 first.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
43?
I didn't have a 43 on my sheet, so.
Oh, you don't, oh, well, I do.
All right, so 43, what are we discussing?
I got that same question, the full-in staffing, and we had a bunch of part-time people there, and I was just wondering, we
43 is just the,
Administration.
Yeah, the
just
administration.
the administration
Public Works
side.
Director. That's on page 43.
Mr. Director Franklin is not
I understand.
here tonight,
I understand.
and we can reserve the right to amend the budget unless we have some discussion that we can make about it without him present. We probably should wait a minute.
I understand. I'm just wanting my colleagues here to understand. I think that's something we need to address.
Yeah, but page 43, we can move on that.
You don't have to be here, right?
Yeah, we can move on that.
It's just something I want to keep on our minds because we've been looking over this for years.
No,
We got-
Marvin, I think you.
I understand we're in administration area, but I don't want to get away from this.
We're gonna get to what you're talking about
Okay,
next.
okay.
We can move on page 43.
I don't have a problem with those moving, but I want us to understand. We did it with this top heavy echelon here, but
I'd like to make a motion that we stick to the 66 on page 43.
We don't need a motion to leave it there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we good.
we just want to leave this in place.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. You want to make sure that we don't forget.
I want to make sure we don't forget the people who's working down there out there in that weather.
On page 50.
He's talking about
All right.
parks.
Yeah.
All right, so you said page 50.
Page 50. Yeah,
Page 50?
yeah.
Now, he's asking about particular people. Are you talking about page 50?
50 would not, it's not on this handwritten sheet that I gave you.
Yeah.
But it was in the emails that I sent. And you didn't print those.
I didn't print the email, no.
Okay.
No, he didn't send that out,
It's parks.
but everything was jumping over the work.
We just-
All right, is there any discussion about page 50? Are we going?
Okay,
Let's make a statement so we can talk about it.
thank you.
Well, my druthers on that, for Parks Director, he said, I don't come up with those weird numbers, I just rounded off to $40,000. We got an easy one to talk about, but, not much of, actually, the salary went down a couple $100 from last year for some reason.
That's because we re-baseline the budget, that's the current person that's holding the job, not the budget person that's been there forever.
Okay.
All of these positions have been re-budgeted this year to the baseline of who is holding them and the numbers of people that you have.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, okay, you heard him. Now, is there another statement that anybody like to make about it, or we move to the next?
The only other statement to make is that, we got a park maintainer there he's 1.5 employee.
That means it's 3 part-timers.
Right.
Half.
Half.
Do you have a recommendation,
I
or?
have a recommendation for the hire these people.
Before you do, everybody in parks right now is working full-time.
Oh, I'm more than worried.
No matter how many times I say you're only supposed to have this many full-time, they're full-time.
Okay.
So if you do anything to it to make it work the way it's been going, you would just need to make those 1.3, 3 whole people. Or else I'm gonna have to keep fussing at people.
Yeah. So 1.5 can be 3.
That's the way it is right now.
Yeah.
Well, there's 3 people now.
Yeah.
Well, let's see, if I understand what you're saying, if we change that 1.5 to 3, then we're gonna change the 52,000 to 104,000.
Roughly.
Yeah. And parks maintainer 1 instead of 4 now becomes 7.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For them to be
Right,
full-time.
if
Okay.
you got
Parks
park
maintainer.
maintainer one, then you got park maintainer 3 part-times. So you're saying make the half, the part-times whole, that's 3, then you already had 4. So now you're saying make 7.
Not necessarily, could we look at reclassifying?
You talking above my head.
So,
All right,
well,
the
and
bottom
other-
line, 3 plus 4 is 7. So,
No, not number-wise, position-wise. See, they're listed as a park maintainer, 1,
but the 1.5 is 3
people,
people, yes.
3 part-time.
3 part-time people.
But they're working full-time.
but they're working full-time.
Oh.
So yeah, what we just said was, add, go from 4 to 7 full-time and just eliminate the part-time,
Basically what we've done, and double the pay.
pretty much. We,
Okay, so
well,
7.
not quite double,
Not
because it's only adding
Go
3.
from part-time to full-time.
Right, yes,
You're
you,
making twice the money. So-
basically you'd be adding about you'd be adding $52,026 to
Right.
this.
So it's
We're all
part-time.
on the same page.
Yep,
Yeah, 4 plus 3 is 7, even in Arkansas.
yep.
So part-time, do they get benefits just like a full-time employee? Since
That's
they
the
be working
purpose of getting them on full-time.
But what I'm saying is, she said they've been working full-time.
I wasn't aware of it, the budget wasn't aware of it.
Okay.
When I became aware that they were working full-time, yes, I had to fill out the paperwork for benefits.
Okay.
So if they're working full-time, should we go ahead and amend the budget to reflect that?
We need to- we-
Yeah,
But
You're gonna
that's-
have to
my
make
view
sure
is,
these
there's
people-
plenty of work for them to do.
Yes, but it's not permanent until you put it in the budget.
Right, I agree.
all right.
So,
Did I hear a motion?
all right, I'll make a motion,
All right.
let's,
Did I hear a second?
Second.
What's the,
What's the motion?
okay, I make a motion to,
let me try it.
All part-time.
I'm trying to figure out how to word
I
it.
make a motion to strike the 3 part-time workers and make it 7 park maintainers 1.
I'm in agreement.
And amending the
That's the motion.
Second.
That has
second.
been seconded. Is there any more discussion? All right, those in favor, use the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, use the voting sign of nay. Ayes have it. Is the next item, sir?
53 swimming pool. And all I have to say is, like I said, we can leave it because we don't really have any good information, but it had been talked about, I'm gonna say, last spring before the COVID shut down the water park and the pool and everything, that, well, the pipes were leaking, it didn't get good pressure, and we're gonna have to get somebody in to look about redoing something on the pipes. It hadn't been an issue all year because of, it was closed, but I'm trying to think, if we have intentions of opening it,
Right.
then we need to look at something. Now, Kevin has told me, he says, he's asked everyone that he knows to contact, and no one wants to work. They won't come give him a price or a bid or an inspection, so.
So he really just need a contractor to come take a look at it.
Well, that's who he's been calling, and so, I don't know what to do, we can leave it blank, but,
I think we ought to leave it and we can come back.
We can come back, but if it's okay with the mayor, I can give you a couple contact numbers for somebody to come down and run a scope on that and look
all
at
right.
it.
I think it'd be awesome for you to speak with Kevin about that. All right, are we ready to move to page 55, sir?
We'll just leave that at 0. Okay? I have a 55, was in that separate little sheet I gave you, I think. 55 is behind that separate little sheet I gave you. And that is non-departmental information. And what's in our budget is in the last 3 items, that 54,025 and 54,30 was where we have in the past transferred to the street fund and transferred to the solid waste fund. They were zeros. And because those funds are, both the solid waste and street are in need of extra money, and solid waste has been transferring money to the street fund the last couple of years, but now it needs the money back to buy the equipment. I'm suggesting that we amend those from 0 and say we're going to, out of general fund, which we've been having a profit the last couple of years, that we transfer $100,000 to the street fund and another 100,000 to the solid waste fund, so that we can do more street repairs and buy the garbage equipment that we need.
Is that a motion, sir?
Can I,
Yes.
before you make that motion, I got a quick question. Mr., probably need to ask Mr. Green, solid waste, there's a certain base we need to keep in there, right?
Yes, in the solid waste, you have to maintain a 25% of the prior year's budget as reserve. And we're kind of razor thin at that. But there's some capital in solid waste that we're going to be spending next year, but that's about all you can spend without the additional dollars. And frankly, if there's a major, Billy was referring, if there's a major capital requirement needed next year,
Yes,
you'll have
yes.
to come back, and the general fund will have to fund it. I don't think we get the reserves built up fast enough.
All right, now we're talking about the dozer?
No, we're really talking about, I think, the compactor at the
Right.
the transfer
I heard you
station
talk about
is
it
the-
earlier.
Is the unknown item. I think he's already put in the big garbage truck, and whether he needs a dozer or an excavator, he's discussing.
Yeah.
He doesn't know, but,
And we're hopeful that the compactors will get some grants for those, but I can't speak for the grants people, but there should be some dollars out there somewhere to solid waste mitigation.
question, Jim, do they normally do that 100% grant, or is it 80/20, 50/50? What's
It's
Balance.
easy, it's 80, 20, 90, 10, or 100. It just really
Okay.
depends on what the funding source is and what the mayor can get into the
Okay. So I'm just, like I say, my motion is to say, let's transfer the money into these separate funds so that
I'm in
it's
agreement.
there.
Is that second, that we second?
I'll second.
Second.
Well, he didn't finish with his motion.
Well, that was really it for those two.
Been moved and
I'll
second.
second.
We've had that discussion, but is there any more discussion? Those in favor, use voting side of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, use voting side of nay.
Well-
Ayes have it.
One quick question before we move on. I'm sorry. So the transfer to airport, 300,000, what exactly is that for some of the future updates that they talked about in their presentation last month, or?
It's a yes and a no answer.
Okay.
They're grants driven, so sometimes they have to spend dollars before they can get the grant.
Right.
All the time, they have to spend money before they get the grant.
Okay.
And they might not have the cash for it. You all,
Come
about
nuts.
2 or 3 months ago, approved a standing resolution that we can transfer up to 300,000 to the county, and they pay it back.
Okay.
So in the general fund, in the revenue part, there's a transfer from airport, and there's a transfer out of airport, so it's net zero neutral.
Okay.
So we're gonna get money back. The cash flow is just a timing issue, but it's all done within the same year.
Okay, all right.
But that's just the standard.
So basically, it's just a temporary thing, we're gonna get all that back.
And we try to do it within the calendar year, so we don't have a cash flow issue.
Gotcha.
The
That was just
next
my-
amendment is found on pages 65, 66, and 67, am I correct, sir?
On this one, the street.
The street is where you want to go next, sir?
Let me just ask, for those of you who did my email printout, page 59, the Brownsfields project, I don't know what we would be spending money on the Brownsfields project for. It's not a lot of money, but I just wonder, does anybody know any reason we should be spending $2,000 on it?
They require you to attend their classes before you can apply for their grants.
Okay, all right, so that's a good reason.
Drawn big,
Yeah, I had to do that. All right, so are we now ready for pages 65, 66, 67? All right, somebody make a statement so we can figure out what I'm moving.
Let me ask to look first, if you would, at page 63.
Okay.
All right, that's where the street fund revenue is. And what we've got there about halfway down is what they've included, the current budget includes a $100,000 transfer from the solid waste fund, which we know the solid waste fund's running out of money. So I'm gonna say, make that a zero. And the line right above it, transfer from general fund, we need to add $100,000 there that we just kind of approved previously to.
What page did you say?
It's 63.
You mean 62?
62.
63. 63 in the big budget.
Yeah, the street fund.
No, I'm looking on the,
Okay.
This one,
Look, it-
more Kelly scribblings.
no. I didn't hear it,
I just want to see. Is that page 62, wasn't it on here?
Well, on here,
Oh, it said 63 on his, it says 62 on the one that we're looking at right now. Okay,
we got Jim.
It's just
okay,
page.
62 on that, okay.
okay, just wanted to,
It's
Yeah.
62.
Okay. But anyway, so.
And what'd you say do now?
I'm say where it has a 0 on 43,500, transfer from general, that should be the $100,000 that we approved just a little bit ago from the general fund. And the transfer from solid waste fund should be a 0, because we're needing to put money into the solid waste fund instead of taking it out of there.
so we've already approved the transfer from general, and you're suggesting that we zero out the
Yeah.
$100,000.
We're just
So basically, we're
adjusting
adjusting where we get the money
street
from.
to accommodate what we did from the general fund.
Right.
All right, is there a motion?
That was mine.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Those in second, ready for discussion. Those in favor, use voting sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, use voting sign of nay. Ayes have it on that motion. All right, are we ready for 77, sir?
65, 66, 67, and that's where I just mentioned the streetscape deed. I'm trying to say, you know, if we spend 120 grand doing the streetscape, it's gonna be our part. We're just gonna have a little less street money.
Personally, I feel it needs to be done. It
Yeah,
It always sucks spending money, but especially $120,000, but I feel it needs to be done because you look at the areas of downtown that have already been redone, and it's a night and day difference.
May I take a liberty?
Sure.
Please, Miss Young, will you update us on what just happened downtown with the grants, please?
Yes, sir. If that's okay.
The reason, well, yeah, I ain't gonna let me run this, but what I'm saying is, I think it's so important that we understand how all of it works together. We need streetscape, just like we need some of the buildings to be brought up, just like we need, all of this works together. Everything in the city, go ahead, work together, go ahead.
Okay, as you know, I'm with Main Street, which is, our program is called the Camden Downtown Network, and we came into the program this year. Early this fall, we set up a grant program to help the downtown businesses with exterior improvements. We were able to award our grants last week, and we gave out $11,330 in grants.
Wait a minute. Those are downtown businesses that are going to put their money in, and it's going to be matched with a grant to improve our downtown. And
Total
streetscape.
amount of projects, once they finish, those projects are $26,643.23. That is to 9 different businesses downtown, which includes Jenny's Gym, Holly Sevens Floral, Salon 124, Washita and Richmond on the Packard's building where their offices are, Banks Pond, Allen's Restaurant, KGS Accounting, Turner Discount, Trinity Grace Dance Studios. This money was obtained, we got $3,000 from the state. Our budget, our board voted to match with $3,000. Airjet Rocketdyne, we didn't even approach them, but